Joseph has been sold by his brothers into slavery, accused falsely, imprisoned unjustly. But because of the talents God has given him and the blessings God has bestowed upon him, he rose from prisoner to prime minister of Egypt. The only person more powerful than Joseph in this land was the Pharaoh himself. Now before him were the brothers that sold him. They knew, compared to this man, they were no more powerful than a bug scurrying across the floor. In addition, they were clueless about Joseph's real identity. This is a reunion of a sort, maybe not the one Joseph had dreamed of, but nonetheless a reunion. His brother Benjamin is now before him. Joseph could not control himself before his brothers and his Egyptian court, so he orders everyone out, and then he reveals his identity to his brothers. He was able to reveal himself because these brothers had changed. They indeed had a real repentance for their actions, and therefore that made a real reconciliation possible. Now, Joseph sent all the people out of the room because he was not about to speak to his brothers as the prime minister of Egypt. He is speaking to them as a brother with a larger charge from God. Now, some of the most emotional and vicious fights I have ever witnessed as a lawyer occurred between members of the same family. Family disputes come with emotions. Reconciliations come with emotions. A recognition of the wrong, a relinquishing of the deep emotions held over long periods of time. Joseph intended for no one to know but his brothers, no one to observe but his brothers. Well, it didn't work. The outpouring of emotion was heard by the Egyptians. Joseph had learned, he could see, in fact, that his brother Benjamin was alive, but he had one more question. So as he revealed himself, he said to his brothers, "Is my father alive?" These brothers are now dismayed because the brother they had sold and that they were still arguing about, still remorsing about, is now before them. His brothers could not answer the question because they were taken back. They did not expect this. So Joseph asked his brothers to come closer to him. Leadership classes tell us that physical proximity can either make people more fearful or put people at ease. And Joseph is seeking to put his brothers at ease. He says to them, "I am your brother Joseph." He describes himself as the brother you sold to Egypt, but he quickly comforts them, saying, "Don't grieve and don't be angry at yourselves. I've heard you still talking about it." He is seeking to establish trust. So he's communicating to his brothers to help them out of their state of surprise. We all should look back on our journey to see God's hand and to try to understand God's purpose, even for the pain that we suffer. Joseph realizes that his personal pain, they were kind of great. God had a purpose for all of that pain, and he had a duty to preserve the life of the remnant, to preserve the Abrahamic covenant. So Joseph explains to them that they are in the second year of a 7-year famine, but God sent him there to preserve the remnant, to keep them alive and give them deliverance. He assures them by asserting, "It was not you who sent me here, but it was God. He gave me the authority over Egypt for this very purpose." Joseph says to them and issues an invitation. "Hurry, get father and say to him, tell him that God has made Joseph Lord of Egypt and to come down with me." Joseph has forgiven them with a full pardon, not one that reserves the right to remember the bad things they have done that will taint decisions in the future. he invites his entire dysfunctional family and their livestock to live in Egypt, in a region near him. This invitation of hospitality meant that he would ensure their nutrition during the remaining 5 years of this famine. Joseph knew that left on their own, his family would die, the remnant would die, the Abrahamic covenant would die. He is seeking to encourage his brothers who are still guilt-ridden about their sin, encouraging them, saying, "My elevation was here for your purpose, to help you." Further, he's assuring them of his ability to provide for the entire family during the famine, sharing unselfishly with his brothers. In a Christ-like forgiveness, Joseph is showing his brothers he has pardoned them. The brothers, who are still trying to wrap their head around this story, are stunned. He was closest to Benjamin, so he calls on his brother Benjamin to verify his identity, and then in an act of sincere brotherly love, he embraces Benjamin, weeping and kissing all of his brothers as the brothers begin to trust him and talk to him. This is true forgiveness. That's the lesson for this week. Have a great day.